At 50 years old, I've come to the uneasy conclusion that life, as I've known it, is a vast machine, a meat grinder of modernity. You don't notice it at first, the way it churns along, pulverizing the past into something sleek and unfamiliar. But pause for a moment, as I have, and you feel the chill of it sneaking up on you, like a shadow that's been trailing you for miles without a sound. Life has always been a place of renewal, with the old swept aside to make way for the new, the familiar traded for the strange. But now, at the halfway mark of a century, I find myself at a crossroads I hadn't bargained for. On one side, there's the world I came up in, the past world of harsh reality and function. On the other side, there's this new glistening digital world that has been unleashed, and I certainly do not have the correct password to access it. In this new digital age, youth isn't just admired, it's revered, held aloft like a sacred flame. The air buzzes with it, the energy of a generation that moves at a pace I can't match, and this is what makes me feel old. Their young minds are quick as lightning, slicing through the mysteries of cryptocurrency trading and stock investments, as if they were born with a calculator in one hand and a smartphone in the other. And they are driven by a strange fixation, a quasi-religious devotion to Andrew Tate, a figure who has stormed into their lives with the force of a hurricane through a broken window. To the young, Tate is a beacon of wealth, a growling sage preaching ambition and ironclad masculinity. His every pronouncement a blueprint for conquering life's chaos. Andrew Tate strides into the lives of his followers with a message that lands like a thunderclap in a quiet library. It's a gospel of sorts, though not one you'd find in any book of hymns. A clarion call to cast off the shackles of what he dubs the Matrix, that vast machine of modern existence, which he insists grinds the spirit to a fine powder. Picture it, a world of dimly lit production lines, where men shuffle through life like automatons, tethered to routine and taught to want nothing more than a pat on the head. Tate's remedy, a hard punch across the face, metaphorically speaking, and a command to stand upright, shake off the dust, and seize the reins of one's destiny. His doctrine is not for the faint-hearted, or the older generation like myself. Happiness, he scoffs, is a mirage dangled before fools. Life, particularly for men, is a battlefield, and the sooner you accept its wounds, the better armed you'll be. To his legion of disciples, he preaches a trinity of virtues: wealth, so you can drive a Bugatti instead of a Toyota; strength, so you can beat people with spinning kicks; and brotherhood, so you are not exposed to opposing views. Tate wraps his creed in a bravado that borders on the operatic, hurling rocks at convention with the glee of a vandal at a stained glass window. His views on power, on women, on the very shape of society often dance perilously close to the edge of respectability. To some, he's a liberator, unshackling minds from a tepid status quo. To others, a siren luring the unwary onto jagged rocks. The message, distilled, is this: work with ferocity, think with clarity, live with audacity, and let the world's grinding teeth break against your resolve. However, this ethos is only applicable to the young. It doesn't work for people like me, because in today's society I am a ghost, a faded photograph you can no longer frame. I am someone who can't code, who can't win kickboxing contests, who can't entice webcam girls to work for me, who can't wrestle an algorithm into submission, who can't make vast crypto wealth from a screen. In today's world, I am yesterday's news, a relic, a dinosaur stumbling toward irrelevance, while the young charge ahead, chasing Tate's ruthless vision of triumph. And it's not just the young men who are looking to triumph. The young women are swept up in it too, drawn into a whirlwind of reinvention. Platforms like OnlyFans shimmer on the horizon, promising fortune and freedom. And women like Bonnie Blue stride into view like modern muses. She's everywhere these days, championing a life that's part defiance, part lightning rod, part opening her legs. To some women it's a bold reclaiming of power, a way to rewrite the rules in a world that's always tried to set the rules. To other women it's a stark commodification of intimacy, a deal that turns the personal into a product, the private into a paycheck. I don't sit in judgment, I'm not sharp enough for that. But I can't help wondering about the gap widening between Bonnie Blue's sanity and the widening of her gape. Nonetheless, Bonnie Blue is also creating a legion of disciples, following her path to this new modern-day success. I'm not sour about the new levels of ambition in this world, or at least I try not to be. There's a grandeur in watching the young soar, even if their wings are forged from pixels and promises I can't decipher. But there's a solitude too in standing still while the tide rushes forward. My generation and the generations before it built this world, not with digital code, but with sweat. And yet it feels like the reins have been handed to a new crowd who don't even glance at the map. The places I used to know where you'd trade paper money for a product are now polished shells of themselves, repurposed for a faster breed. The jobs we relied on, making, fixing, lifting, are shrinking, replaced by something intangible, something I can't grip with my hands. So here I am at 50, staring straight into the meat grinder and wondering what's left when the cogs stop turning. I don't have the solutions, never pretended to, but I've got my past and my stubborn little corner of existence that still feels like mine. Maybe that's sufficient, or maybe not. Either way, I'll keep looking, keep listening, keep trying to piece it together. Because if there's one thing this meat grinder of a life has taught me, it's that you don't stop moving, even when the world's moved on without you.